Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in for our daily Liverpool news show. Joined by two very special guests. You probably know who they are anyway, but I'll introduce them. Connor from the Kop Council and Dave from the fabulous Dave LFC Chat. Anyway, thank you very much, lads, for coming on. Their links are in the description, so go head over, give them all the support you can. And we're just speaking today before we hit the go live button. Me and Dave, is it like 3 years, mate? We've been going on.
You've been going for about 50 years. I'm only going 3 years. 3 years on August the 12th. I did the very first vlog. I think Liverpool were playing West Ham. I think we beat them 3-0 at Anfield. One of the first games of the season in 2018. That famous season as well, when it all really took off. 3 years. It seems longer, Jack.
It's flown by, Dave, and Connor. Yeah, one of me Connor's been in the background for ages anyway, helping everyone. They're the most important things at the production team and everything, mate. So like me and Dave presenting anyway, but the support wouldn't be, and every single one of you watching as well.
Mate, last summer was crazy when, like, obviously, I say last summer. Yeah, it was last summer with the pandemic and that. And it was just finding good technology to find, and everyone just finding StreamYard. StreamYard, we're still wanting that sponsorship, by the way, because all of us are using it, by the way.
It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Hey, from StreamYard watching, so I didn't know where we are.
I'm going to buy the cream stone Liverpool jersey, put StreamYard number 10 on the back.
Oh, no.
But yeah,
joking, of course.
Yeah, but thank you very much for anyway for tuning in. We'll discuss all things Liverpool, obviously potential links and everything, and obviously we'll talk a bit about Jack Grealish possibly going to Manchester City, what that means for the rest of the Premier League as well. So, and obviously the Bailey transfer from Bayer Leverkusen to Aston Villa, phenomenal signing if that does go over the line anyway. But Dave, we'll just get straight into it. We'll discuss about Jarrod Bowen just quickly. And if you are watching live, make sure you do hit that subscribe button and drop a follow on all the lads' channel over there as well if you want to. But Zuki, Naby staying, possibly, mate. Well, Dave, we'll start. Yeah, we'll discuss Naby in a little second, Zuki. But Jarrod Bowen, Dave, just before we went on live, me and you have been speaking. Your thoughts on him potentially, and just quickly before everyone jumps to gun, everyone's like, yeah, he was left out due to injury, which has got to be the main thing that will be discussed anyway. But how many players that have left Liverpool and all around Europe have feigned injury anyway? So Dave, not saying any names, but Dave, your thoughts on the lads, what it could mean for him potentially coming to Liverpool? Do you rate his quality?
I like him. I think it's a big possibility, this one. I think there's meat on the bone on this one. I did a video just about 2-3 hours ago on my own channel about a little 2-3 minute video. Check that out. He's 24. He can play anywhere in the front three. He can even play as a number 10. He's pacey. He scores goals. I think he had 9 goals last season. It was 8 league goals. He played for Hereford then. I mean, he went to Hull City. We all know good players come from Hull City at good prices. Then went to West Ham. He's had a good season at West Ham. As I said, he suits the FSG profile. The age, he's 5'9", he's pacey. He's aggressive as well. You know, he's a real niggly type of player. And I just think he's a Klopp-style player, FSG-style player. You probably get him for about 30 plus million. Not a huge amount of money. Is he good enough for Liverpool? Time would tell. I'm not saying it's a done deal or anything like that. Far from it. But I do think he's on the radar. I do think he'd suit us. I would like him as a backup there. Similar to Jota, actually. But will it happen, Jack? I just don't know. But I do like him. I rate him.
Absolutely spot on there, Dave. And Reds, let us know your thoughts on Jarrod Bowen. Connor, Dave hit the nail on the head in relation to the hunger and the desire in which that a player of that caliber would come in. And he's got that potential. And as Dave alluded to with Andy Robbo moving from Hull, these players that, yes, Liverpool we can't compete. I know there'll be people screaming at the telly right now going, yes, we can compete. But when City are whacking 100-odd million on players, PSG are buying Hakimis for 50, 70, 80 million, you really can't, as much as we would love to see us go for the likes of Mbappe, Haaland, potentially in the future. But in terms of the financial climate in which football clubs do find themselves in, not every club has got a bottomless pit of money. And Liverpool as Dave alluded to, and all views, people, even questions, even me, everyone questions an £8 million left back from Hull, and time was the biggest teller. He come into Liverpool Football Club, didn't make the straight impact in which Jurgen Klopp was clever. Like he done it with Fabinho, he brought him in, give him a couple of minutes here and there, and then when Robbo got started and he got a run of games, Jurgen, under the guidance, do you reckon under the guidance of Jurgen Klopp, Jared Bowen could potentially do what Andy Robinson has done in terms of transitioning into a superstar? Not notably, he's not at the level in which or a Sancho or a Mbappe or Haaland at the minute. But as Dave mentioned, Jota as well went down that certain route. Do you reckon Jared Bowen could be that potential next player?
Yeah, I think he has definitely the profile for it, as Davis said there, rightfully so. And like you said, then it's looking at the key players that are ready for that next step up. At Hull, I know many people have said he looked like the best player and was the best player in the Championship while he was at Hull, and he's done very well at West Ham from what we've seen and we've read. I think the other thing to take into consideration as well is the fact that the homegrown talent situation of it, because I've seen many people going, we should look for an international player and other things like that. The thing is, you can only have a certain amount, can't you, within your squad? And I think he does have that profile of Jota. Maybe not. There is a slight difference between the both of them, but as we've seen from the start of last season, how well Jota did coming off the bench and breaking his way through the Liverpool front three. And could Bowen do that potentially? Yes, I think he could. It is the factor though of the price tag for me. I've got being English at West Ham as well. We know West Ham will try and pip every single penny out of Liverpool as possible. And then I think then he'll definitely be on the shortlist, as James Pearce put out, what was it, like 2 weeks ago now, saying that he is on the attacking shortlist. I think that's probably a shortlist of 10 people, as we all know of Michael Edwards. He does have the profile, he does fit the mold of Liverpool, and like you said, with Andy Robertson, with Fabinho, if he's given time, I think he could do well. He wouldn't be my first choice personally. I'd still love Rafinha from Leeds, but it's also, again, like I said, that homegrown talent where you need certain amount of those in the squad. But if Jurgen likes him, if Pep Lijnders likes him, I'm all down for it. I don't think, like you said, Jack, I don't think many of us would have thought Andy Robertson would have been the best left back in the world when we signed him from Hull for £8 million.
Yeah. I think you've been asking every single one of us. Hindsight is a very wonderful thing in football, and if you just go back to everyone's tweets on Twitter, there's some some mad comments.
Interesting ones.
I know from Manchester United fans going, he's not, and then just watch anyway. But that's the beauty of Jurgen Klopp, and Connor and Dave. He makes his own superstars. We've seen when he was at Mainz, obviously Dortmund transitioned. Lewandowski propelled him to one of the most biggest elite players in his time under his guidance at Borussia Dortmund. Anyway, Dave, but let us know your thoughts, Reds, in the comment section below. If you are watching this live, we will be featuring all your comments. And if you are watching this on the repeat, make sure you do drop your comments in. Scotty, how you doing, mate? A legend. Me and Dave have known you for a very long time, but I really do appreciate your support as well, Scott. And every single one of you, if you are continuing to support all of our channels and every Red around the world, anyway, really do appreciate all your support. We'll discuss that, Scotty, in a little second. We'll Lautaro Martínez, nothing too concrete, but want to know your thoughts, Reds, on the thoughts on that potential transfer. Leon Bailey is a fantastic signing for Aston Villa. Jack Grealish, well, we said we'll delve into a lot of things Liverpool, and not just Liverpool, Premier League. Dave, Leon Bailey, have you seen a lot of him anyway? But it looks like Aston Villa, they're a very well-run football club, and there's not many very well-run football clubs in the Premier League. Same decisions Liverpool make, and we all know those decisions. But Leon Bailey, do you reckon Jack Grealish will go to City, Dave?
It looks like it's done, nearly a done deal at this stage, isn't it? 100 million, I think Aston Villa have to take the money. They just have to. I mean, they could buy 3 or 4 players, rebuild. They've already bought your man from Norwich. Was it Bowen, the Argentinian? Buendia. He looks a proper player. And then Leon Bailey, throw him in there. Possibly even they'll get someone else, and they'll still have change out of 100 million from Grealish. So, yeah, Leon Bailey. Wow, I would have liked him at Liverpool. To be fair, he has he's pacey. Yeah, Villa are a well-run club. I could see them doing decent next season. But as you just said, Grealish, I mean, will he even start? I know Doug's saying he'll start for City. I don't even know where he'll start, to be honest. City's just ridiculous. They're an oil state club. Basically, they can buy anybody they want. They'll buy Kane as well, I think. I think they'll buy Grealish and Kane. That's who I think they'll buy. It's just crazy. It's
the predicament, Dave and Connor and Reds. When you sell a player, we sold Coutinho, and it's what Aston Villa do now. If he does leave, he's a local lad from Villa anyway, loves the football club. But as we've seen with Steven Gerrard, Mourinho tried to get him at Chelsea. He will be asking himself, he'll be surrounded by his family. Yes, he wants to win trophies in his career, but he's got everything that he wants at Aston Villa. And it would be a massive statement if Aston Villa did turn around and did reject that deal. It's all right, all the reporters, Fabrizio Romano and every journalist out there that are discussing, yes, it's Man City have made that bid, but Connor, could you see in a realms of possibility of him staying at the football club? It's difficult when those vast number of money, it's crazy, and obviously the last 12 months, 16 months in which football clubs and businesses have found themselves in. What are your thoughts on just the general consensus on this deal? And as we mentioned, Coutinho, it's difficult when you are the selling club, and if you do sell a player of that much money, you've got all the rest of the Premier League teams and all the rest of the clubs around Europe going, right, you've got 100 million. We want X, Y, and Z for this player that you are potentially putting a bid in. Because it's like when we had Coutinho, sold them, everyone knew we had a lot of money to play with.
Well, it's like that again, isn't it? Is the fact that Man City, like Dave said earlier, Man City could go easily and go buy Harry Kane for 160 million and it wouldn't batter an eyelid at Man City. That's how sad it is. And when people go on about Liverpool should be fighting and going for £100 million players, Liverpool can't do it. That's the simplicity of it. And the only team that can do it is Manchester City. And
possibly a Real or the PSG.
I don't even think Real Madrid can do it.
Madrid don't have the money.
Yeah, I think it's only Paris probably. Like PSG is probably the only club. And when people go on about Liverpool have brought the fight to Man City over the last couple of years, that's a tremendous achievement, let alone winning the Premier League title.
That's on the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And off the pitch, I think that the Harry Kane deal will go on until the final day of the transfer window. I think Tottenham and Daniel Levy, I think they'll drag it out for as long as possible, like the Gareth Bale deal with Real Madrid. And then it is then the sense of how much for Harry Kane. 100 million. For me, I don't think Villa turned that down. Personally, and I think the other factor as well, I think because Jack Grealish loves the club so much, he'd love to get the replacement in before he left, and now they've got it in Leon Bailey because he can obviously play on the left and on the right, I think, as well as Buendia as well. So the replacement's there. So just 100 million. Now whether or not that's 100 million straight up, or whether or not it's 90 million plus 10 million an add-on, whatever it is, either way,
it's City, mate. They'll probably roll up to Villa Park with a van full of cash.
Lad, it's so bad, but that's just the way they are at the minute. And of course, with FFP getting relaxed because of COVID, and that's not even a thing. Even when Man United was spending all that money. Yeah, it's not. But yeah, look, Jack Grealish, is he worth 100 million? I think that could be a debate in itself. With it, as Dave alluded to, there's no
Ben White as well, Connor. 50 mil for Ben White, come on. No.
Yeah, but it's English and Prem tax as
well. It's English, that's exactly. Yeah. There's about a 30%, or maybe even 50% on top of just being English. I mean, he's a good player, Grealish. He is a good player. He's one of the top Premier League players. He's not worth 100 million.
It adds to that factor again, how much truly are Mane and Salah worth for Liverpool?
Crazy.
That's the big sticking point in modern day football, and Connor and Reds and Dave. There's no value for money in players now. Jurgen Klopp, man, Guardiola says it himself a couple of months ago, and every single interview he does, he laughs and jokes, and he openly admits and goes, "Yes, I've had the best players around Europe at my previous football clubs, and he spent so much." He doesn't bat it away, which I respect. He openly says it. Yes, I've spent a lot of money, but and he gets success, but every club, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United, Real Madrid, Barca's, every club that wants to be successful, and I'm including Liverpool because Liverpool have spent a lot of money over the last 10 years, but it's the fact that City have spent it as well in a shorter period of time. But every football club, if you want to be successful, apart from, you'd say Leicester, would you, lads? And possibly, Leicester were clever. That was a once in 100 years. The story in itself was phenomenal, and it was great to see. But every successful club in and around Europe and the Premier League has spent money. It's just what time period, over a certain time period anyway, that they have spent. But thank you to every single one of you for continued support. I'm right. I'm just going to read out all the comments as well. Bear with me, Connor and Dave, but absolutely fantastic stuff, Reds. It's just insane silliness, all the greed that shows in the transfers. I mean, has to be a wage cap put in, I think. Helen, I was speaking to Dave and Connor over the last couple of weeks, and let us know your thoughts, Helen, and everyone. I don't think there will be, in 50, 100 years' time, there will be billionaire footballers. And there will be. There will be billionaires. We've seen it with the likes of Messi, Ronaldo, Mbappe, Haaland. They are bigger than some football clubs. You just have to look at Messi. When you've got La Liga teams paying potentially in the background, wanting to pay his wages due to he's a bigger product than the league itself. It's going in that way, Helen, and I think there will be no cap as long as sponsors and big countries are backing football clubs. There'll always be but it will be the fans that it has been over the last 10, 15 years. The bigger divide and the so-called legacy fans within football will be that football clubs are trying to eradicate that use of, but they openly used it in that big statement a couple of weeks ago. Not a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, but us football fans, not just Liverpool, but all around the world of football, we understand how clubs are run. But it's Grealish will be thinking of its past. He goes to warm their bench because he won't get in the start 11. Just look at the caliber of Riyad Mahrez, Helen. He would very much get in the majority of clubs around Europe. Phenomenal player. I disagree. I think Grealish will start. We'll see. Sterling starting the false nine, Grealish on the left and Foden on the right. It will be interesting to see. Sadly, you can only have 11 football players on the pitch. But if City had their way, there'll be about 15 players.
Here, I'm surprised UEFA haven't changed that. They're changing every bleeding thing else. They probably have 15 aside next year, like the rugby. Fucking joke. You know what I mean?
If it makes them enough money, Dave, UEFA.
I know. It's all about money. That's what it's about.
Yeah. It's bad enough trying to get a ticket for the game anyway, and that's another video for another day, Reds, anyway, for us. Do you think we would get Fernandinho? Well, I think he just signed a new contract extension. It was a 12-month, Helen. Hello, lads. Mitchell, how you doing, mate? Thank you very much for dropping in. At least you are guaranteed 100% with Bowen, and he'll always be available in terms of fitness. Yeah, Mitchell, and it's as me and Dave and lads and Connor were mentioned as well, and when I've been speaking to you in the comment section below over the last couple of months, it's that hunger in it, Dave, that you want from certain players. If you're bringing in a player for 100 million, is he going to be a lot more hungry and have more desire in his belly than compared to a 10, 15 million pound player?
No. Let's put it this way. Grealish is the superstar at Villa. You know what I mean? He's the superstar. He's not going to be the superstar at City. He's just going to be another player. Like, you know what I mean? So he might, even at England, he wasn't really getting into. I know a lot of people wanted him in England. He probably should have played for England, but he wasn't getting into the England setup for some reason or other, and he was injured and stuff like that. I don't see the big hullabaloo around Grealish. I really don't. I watched him as a youngster. He played for Ireland, for God's sake. He was in Ireland's youth international until he changed. Until he changed Declan Rice as well. Until he changed his loyalty to go to England, and now his loyalty with Villa, he'd be going to City, of course. So where's the loyalty? But I just don't know. I mean, I don't see it. I don't see it with him. He's a good player. I don't think he's a £100 million player at all. Is it maybe a 50, 60 million? That's it. Maybe he'll prove me wrong this season, but I just don't see it with him. I think it's a lot of bluster, as they say.
Yeah, a lot of wind, to say it in story.
Wind, bluster.
I know all about that.
But this guy that Andrew Quinn is talking about, the Dutch winger at Bournemouth, that guy, he looks a proper Danjuma. He looks a proper player.
Yeah,
and Liverpool could be interested in him as well.
You never know, Andrew could be the secret scout. But thank you very much for your comment, Andrew. Make sure you keep on getting your comments in. We will be delving into Naby Keita and Lautaro Martínez, the latest surrounding him, those two players. But yeah, Andrew, as Dave's already teed us up perfectly, I'd take that as you met the Dutch winger from Bournemouth. He scored 17 goals in the Championship last season and made 8 assists, and also Cantwell from Norwich as a candidate to replace Grealish at Aston Villa. Yeah, spot on there, Andrew. It's Dave, I know football has gone far too ahead of itself anyway in recent times, but it was the likes of Ian Rush, we signed from the lower leagues. There's so many players steeped in Liverpool's tradition over the last 100 years that Liverpool have took a chance on, and football has come a far way in terms of getting players from obviously the League One, League Two, and Championship. Would you like to see Liverpool and obviously teams in the Premier League today take a chance on a lower down players? You don't see it now in modern day football, do you?
Who's that to?
Connor, there you go.
I was like, I swear this is Dave's question.
Connor, you're up.
No, it is, isn't it? And it is always that Jamie Vardy experiment as well, isn't it? Everyone looks at Jamie Vardy. He's probably the most, the successful non-league story out of it. And I think more and more people will look in the Championship. Villa, for example, already. I know when Diaz already, he was coming up to the Premier League with Norwich, but, he was Championship last year. And I think I say we looked at the Championship. Look at Ben Davies. Yeah, Ben Davies. Who's Ben Davies?
That is not. You shouldn't have used that as. You know what I mean? That's the one you don't use.
No, that's the one you don't use. But look, it is. A good sign. I know that you wanted Tony from Brentford, and what he got? 32 goals was it? Last year,
and I tell you, if he goes and bangs in 25 goals in there for them, I am literally going to be knocking on the end clock door.
Watch his price tag now go up to 60 million, and Liverpool go, no, we can't afford that. But no, it is the Championship is the quality of the Championship's got a lot better over the last couple of years, and the league, it's probably one of the best in Europe. I think the Championship is very underrated, and I know that many of us put hackers on and things like that. The Championship is so unpredictable because a team can be first in December and then be 10th, at the end of the season. That's how good it is.
It's probably better for me than League On. That's a big controversy.
Oh, for God's sake!
Well, if you take PSG maybe and Leon out of it, maybe. But
PSG would get slapped up by Swansea away.
Well, to be fair, that is probably a very likely thing. Was it Man City got destroyed by Swansea a couple of years ago?
Derby or something. But yeah, spot on there, Con. There's such a plethora of talent really within, and I think there is always that slight gem. But I think there's that much football in modern day football. I think clubs would tend to ease away, but sadly, you never know. Football, as Helen did mention, if there does become a certain cap on football in the next 10, 20 years, you never know. We could go, but it all comes down to scouting recruitment, and I think Liverpool have been doing that very well, haven't they, Connor and Dave? But let's get to all your comments before we do head over to Lautaro and Naby Keita, because a very interesting what Connor and Dave have to say, and all yous at home anyway. Your thoughts on Naby Keita? Could he be the big word? Could for this season? Could Naby be the answer? Could he be the answer to Liverpool's central midfield problems?
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. But have I read that one? Oh, yeah, there we go. Where was it? Mitchell. That's where I was up to. Am I the only person who thinks 100 million is cheap for Grealish?
Yeah, you're the only person.
Yeah.
I know. No way.
Yeah, he's the second best creative midfielder in the league behind Kevin De Bruyne, and he's English. I think he's world class. Yeah, it's interesting to see Mitchell. I fully agree with your comment there, mate, because I think he is very good, and it's just the factor, as we've already alluded to, Mitchell and Reds. It's the English quota, really, that every club adds on. I tell you, if Andy Robbo was English, I think we would have been quoted.
There you go.
We would have been quoted 30, 40, 50 million. Just look at Ben Chilwell. He's a very good player, don't get me wrong, but not worth 50 million.
There you go.
But yeah, it's Man United can do, very much can.
Maybe United could do it where the other club, you're saying City, PSG, United, if they had to struggle for 100, I mean, what, 76 on Sancho?
Yeah, well, when you look at it,
like that.
The likes of, Rio Ferdinand, when he was it West Ham or Leeds, wherever he was, anyway, when you signed him, that was a club record.
From Leeds United, wasn't it?
Yeah, for Leeds, for a massive sum of money back then.
Yeah. That worked out for them, though. That worked out.
The likes of Berbatov as well, record-breaking transfer fee for Wayne Rooney.
Van Persie, when they did all those little deals, that was the legendary of Ferguson, though. Coming into your rival clubs, buying their best player and only adding one or two every season when you're on top. That was buying proper players that can go into 11, not players that are in the basement like Ben Davies and players that might get a game. These are players that are starting. This is a player who's coming in playing.
They always took little gambles, didn't they? And I think all of us hated it for the longest period of time, where they would, like you said, Berbatov and others as well. And that's what I think Liverpool need to do. Just we've done it before, of course, with Jota, and we went all in with Verge. But it is just the fact that we just have to go, I think, a little bit more into that little bit more of a gamble if we want to, keep up with winning titles.
Yeah, I think we will see that. There is a big next 3-4 years, possibly Liverpool are transitioning into a younger squad. We've seen the likes of as much as you can't escape time is the biggest time. You can't escape time. Salah is heading into his 30s. Mane is heading into his 30s. Bobby's getting into his 30s. That doesn't mean that they're going to deteriorate in terms of quality, but when you are looking at a player, they're not. It's not like he's 21. Salah and Mane, they're going into the latter years, and we've got Harvey Elliott, who could possibly be the future. We've got him settled down as well. Young Polish lad, can't remember his name, in the Liverpool academy.
The forward, he's a proper player.
He's got a lot of plaudits in the academy. I know everyone raves about him. He's just signed his new deal. So
Keita Gordon, the 16-year-old.
Yeah.
But Jack, you have to remember, it's having all these lads at that level to break then to get into the first team and go again. It's not easy. They don't all make it, no matter how good they are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you've got the best man in world football for developing talent, and we're so lucky to have him at the football club. But yeah,
let's do a little Naby lad chat.
Yeah, right. We'll get to Naby anyway. I think everyone's biting at the bone anyway. I know Dave and Connor and Mickey have been very good supportive of Naby anyway. We'll just quickly rattle through all your comments. Absolute legends. Really do appreciate all your comments as well. It wasn't for you, everyone at home watching the content, not just on mine, Dave and Connor. We really do appreciate all your support, and every single one is. But yeah, Grealish is one of the rare cases when he was 16, 17, already tipped to do great things, and actually he's gone on to achieve it. Yeah, phenomenal. How many points? It depends how much Man City pay the FA anyway. Spend 34 million. Is that you, Dave? Is that Jürgen ringing you?
Buy him, Klopp, buy him.
Yeah, it's funny that But yeah, it's the thing. Liverpool, we're not escaping the fact Liverpool have spent top dollar on players. It's not just Man City, Man United. We spent 70 odd million or whatever we spent for Virgil van Dijk and Alisson. Jurgen Klopp, if he wants to play, regardless of transfer fee, he will get his man. And that is the reality. Spot on there, Andrew. Do you think the dogs?
For God's sake!
I think that's the birthday card. I got Doug a birthday card with all dad jokes on, and I think he's using them to his best of his ability. Like Jurgen Klopp when he buys certain players. Views from the big fish in a small pond. It'd be interesting, Liz, how he adapts. Want to play? Yeah, spot on there. Liz going, are you okay, Connor? I don't know, is that...
No.
I think you can ask that to all for Liz. We're not okay. But yeah, hello to a fellow Reds. Avens, how you doing, matey? Thank you very much for jumping on Dave's channel as well. Massive supporter of everyone's content and Connor's as well. And yeah, spot on that. Big update on Sal's situation. His representatives will be in England tomorrow. Until it's announced, Andrew, until he's officially on Liverpool's website, then I think we'll get a green light from all the reporters. Yeah.
But I think he's too like Thiago for Liverpool to look for him and the money involved. I can't see Liverpool going for him at all. I think that was a smoke screen. I did a video only a few days ago with Paul Gorst from Liverpool Echo, and he said there's no meat on the bone on that one. Now, he could be wrong, but it's not. Even James Pearce said it. I can't see that one, to be honest, lads.
Yeah, you see that with Monday football and Dave and Con and everyone at home. Not journos, but in terms of club representatives, someone within the club. See, Liverpool's a massive global name, not just in footballing terms, but a marketing perspective as well. As soon as you link Liverpool, the story gets
tweets.
It gets all of us three involved, and all the YouTube channels. And
Jack, it's their agents and their representatives putting little tweets out there. You know, he wants a move. Atletico already signed someone, I think, in his position. He probably said, I'm not going to play next year. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's all about money and a move.
Well, it's like it's like the Griezmann move as well. It's like that whole swap deal, like that. It's so complicated, and it's ridiculous. Like, isn't like Griezmann on like 885k a week?
Crazy money.
What? Yeah. I'm only on half that.
With a packet of jammy Dodgers on top of that as
well. Jammy Dodgers is right, yeah.
Right. I really do appreciate all the support. We're going to be talking about Naby Keita now, and to cue it up perfectly, Liz, fantastic comment as always. I'm fully prepared for Naby, lad, to stomp on my heart. He is so gifted, but I worry. Right. Who wants to go first on the Naby debate?
Naby!
Can we do a coin toss?
Have you got a coin on you?
No.
Naby, lads.
Right, we'll go with you, Con, then.
Go on.
It's the $1 million question, and we will be asking this question. Can he stay fit? If he stays fit, when he stays fit? The lad's got fantastic potential, and when we've been me, you, Dave, and every single Reds has been watching these preseason games, he stands into prime Xavi, prime Iniesta, prime Steven Gerrard in glimpses. I think he can be Liverpool's. I'd love to see him alongside the likes of Henderson, Fabinho's, the Jordan Hendersons as well. Do you reckon if he can stay fit, could he be the answer? Thank you. Can he be the answer to Liverpool's midfield conundrum?
Yeah, 1000%. That I don't think that's ever been in question. It is just that sense of, can he stay fit? He's always around pre-season, which is nothing unusual there. It's just the factor of, can he stay fit for after the 3 games at the start of the season? That's the telling part. From like what like Liverpool journos have spoken, that he looks to be in better fitness this summer round than what he's ever has done at Liverpool, which is a good thing. Fingers crossed, like Jack is pointing out there. And look, I think we've all been known of Naby Keita's talent. I don't think that's ever been into question. You know, look at him towards the end of, you know, not last season, the season before, where he had like those like 8 or 9 game run where I think there was a clip going around of us against Brighton, where he had like a man of the match performance.
5 players.
Yeah, and Yeah, he has, and even in pre-season, definitely against Hertha the other night, probably a standout player along with Harvey Elliott and Kostas Tsimikas. And I think this year is make or break for Liverpool and Naby Keita, because I think he has 2 years left on his deal. It'll be then the conversation: do Liverpool extend or do they get rid? And if it is break, then it is get rid. Because then it hasn't worked. Of course, he's the most expensive, one of the most expensive anyway, I should say, signings for Liverpool in our history, of course. And he now has to step up to the plate. With Gini going now as well. I know all of us, myself, Dave, and you, Jack. We've all talked about Liverpool needing a midfielder. I still think we need a midfielder, but if Naby Keita can be that added midfielder and not go missing halfway through the season,
and Ox as well.
And Ox. It is all about that as well, isn't it? Ox moving into that false 9 role, Naby pushing a bit forward, maybe in that 8 or 10 role. Kind of like what Thiago had to play at one stage last year. And if he can do it, he can be one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. We've seen that, but he just has to stay fit. I think if he has a good season and if he can stay fit, I think Liverpool will give him a contract and we'll keep him around. But I think if it is another season where we're talking about this again next season, where can he make it, can he not? I don't think he can. And I think he will be sold the next summer round.
Yeah. Dave, anything to add? Everyone at home as well? Maybe get your comments on Naby.
Well, we don't know his problems with fitness. The problem with Naby was he gets a string of games and he looks like a world beater. He looks like the player we signed him, that we wanted to sign when we signed him from Leipzig. And then he gets a little niggle and he's out and you wonder, where's Naby? Is he back in the basement with Davies, or where is he? You know what I mean? And then he goes a little runs. He needs a consistent 10, 15 game run to show us what he has. We know he's potential. I watched him for Leipzig this season. We signed him, but we couldn't take him. We had him on year, remember? And we had him a year at Leipzig. Then he came the following year. Every game he was unbelievable. He was getting sent off. He was getting, he was setting up goals. He was scoring goals. He was man of the match in a few of the games I watched. And I was going, this guy is going to be an absolute world beater. But this guy gets injured playing PlayStation. This is the problem. He's so injury prone that, walking down the stairs, he'd get injured, or getting onto the coach, he'd get injured.
I think
to the match.
I think
that's the problem.
I think the story come out last season was he was playing like table tennis, footy in the garden, and I think he got injured. I don't know if you want to believe that rumor.
But as Connor said, spot on. I mean, on any other day, maybe in a different dimension or different universe, Naby Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain, they'd be starting a lot of games and coming off the bench. But Ox is in the same boat. He's always injured too. So what do Liverpool risk? Saying these two boys will get us through till at least January and not sign a midfielder, or else the window shuts and we're all sitting here going, hope these two don't. Both could get injured. Both could knock into each other, getting onto the coach, and both get injured at the same time. So I think Liverpool definitely need a midfielder. Anybody, but just numbers and bodies in there for midfield, and a striker as well, as we know. But Naby, I mean, we all love the lad. You know how Klopp loves him. To be fair, Klopp loves him. He'll give them all the chance in the world to see if he can make it. But as Connor says, if he doesn't do it this season, I think the writing's on the wall.
It showed a lot what Jurgen Klopp thinks about Naby Keita when he brought him in for that Real game. But none of us expected, any of us around the world, we didn't expect Naby to get dropped in. Klopp said after the game he was doing so good in training the week prior to the game. And I think it's going to be the $1 million question. And fingers crossed, I think all three of us and everyone at home would love Naby Keita to stay fit. And if he does stay fit, I think the Premier League is not expected to what would happen, because I think he would be so important for Liverpool. He's that player that offers that a bit of player that gets away from players. Curtis Jones, he's such a tall lad, but he's very good with his feet. Naby, he's always on the spin, puts players in the opposite direction, something that Liverpool haven't got. I think, which we've all discussed, Reds, haven't we? A player that puts their opposition midfielder and the defensive side of their team on the back foot, and it creates more space for the likes of Mane, Bobby, Jota, whoever plays up front anyway. And if you've got a midfielder, like we've seen with Thiago, teams want to get in front of Thiago. They want to disrupt the momentum in terms of our attacking side of our game. And if you've got another midfielder that counterbalances that, whether you got Thiago on one side and then you got Naby or you got Fabinho or Henderson behind them. There's different options, and I think that's what we've spoken about, lads, and we offer and all use around the world, that Liverpool need more variety and options going into this season, whether that's Liverpool recruiting, as we've spoken about Jared Bowen, or getting a fully fit Naby and Ox. I tell you, if those two lads did come back, boys, it'd be massive for Liverpool this season, wouldn't it?
Well, also you've Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott.
Yeah.
Harvey Elliott looks like he's going to be kept on board, which would point to the fact that Liverpool aren't going to do a huge amount of business when you think about it. I think Klopp likes him. I like him. We all like Harvey Elliott, of course. I think he's good enough to stay. I just don't see the fact to send him out on loan all the time. I just don't. He had a great season for Blackburn last season. I'd keep him. He gives us something different even off the bench. He's on you. He'd give you a dribble or a ball into the box or score a goal, maybe in a tight game of 20 to go, 15 to go. He's given us that bit. And as you know, lads, our defence looks tight enough. Let's hope they can stay fit this season. But with Kanate in there as well, Van Dijk back, Gomez back, Matip looks good. We've still got Phillips and Ben Davies. We've still got these boys there. I think Reece Williams will go out on loan. So for us, it's the midfield. Get creativity into that midfield and someone up front, add to the four boys up front. But I think we're going to have a better season from Bobby and Matt, especially Mane. Mane needed a break, to be honest. I think you'll see a different Mane this season. I really do.
Yeah, spot on there, lads. Steve, spot on as always, mate. The biggest problem Liverpool will have next season is the midfield. It is so injury prone. It's worrying. Yeah, he's spot on. As Connor and Dave, and you've already mentioned, hit the nail on the head there. It's Liverpool's biggest conundrum, as Dave alluded to there, Eds, and Connor already, top of the show. We don't want to be leaving a situation, and I think all of us have probably said to our mates or around the pub or what over the last couple of years, it's like we've seen last season, you mentioned this, Steve, we don't want to be what happened to Liverpool defensively last year. We don't want it to be the midfield this year. Liverpool can't be put in a situation, and I don't think Jurgen and Edwards will allow us to be put in that situation that allows us to be playing defensively. Yeah, but in injuries and that. But yeah, spot on there, Steve. Quickly, can Naby stay fit? It's a big if, Steve. It's Scotty, sorry, mate. But just a quick one, final one, Dave, before I let you lads go. Really do appreciate you staying on this long. Lautaro Martínez, he has been linked with Arsenal Football Club. There's not a lot of rumours. I think Liverpool Echo did report on it today before. It'll be a massive plus if he does come to the Premier League, won't he, Connor?
I don't know what about him, Connor, so you better talk.
Well, I don't know much about. I've researched him today to do a video on him, and I was like, it's interesting because we've all seen about like Liverpool looking for a number 9 and looking for an attacker, and Fabrizio Romano talking about Liverpool are looking for an opportunity in the transfer window and other bits and pieces and that. And I think current market value he's worth like £72 million, but like Inter have said that it could go down to 50 mil because like 50 million euros, which is around I think like 47 million pounds. And when you look at it, he could do well under Jurgen Klopp because can play on the right, can play on the left, mainly used as a striker, well, in a 2 with Lukaku. Can definitely, I think many people have gone, can he fill in that Bobby Firmino role? I think he can. I think he does that now for, Lukaku holds up the ball and then plays on with Inter.
Yeah, he's 23 years old as well, boys. Obviously, he's had that desired impact. And for me, what I've seen of Inter in the Champions League over the last couple of seasons, he's a player that really never stops running. He's a player that will, like, he's typical South American in terms of the way in which he played the football. Never say die attitude. I think I'd hate for him to go to Arsenal. I tell you, I don't think he'd understand if he went to Arsenal. Be like, oh, where have I moved to? Have they still got Thierry Henry and Dennis Bergkamp and that up front? Sadly not.
I don't think he'll end up at Arsenal because he wants Champions League football, and Arsenal not even in Europe. So I think he'll either stay at Inter or he'll go to a Champions League club, which could be Liverpool. Just saying.
Yeah. For me, I'd love it. That would be the marquee signing that Liverpool and us fans have been pulling our hair out, and hopefully, I'd be so interested to see how he would, as you mentioned, Nick, on him and Lukaku have been phenomenal last season, leading Inter Milan to that Serie A title in a very long time. And fingers crossed. I won't ask you a lot about him, Dave, anyway, because I don't think you've seen a lot of him. But I think for me, when I've seen the story, not officially concrete, but if the player did become available, I think Liverpool, at the right price, would come in for him. As we said, I think Jurgen Klopp, under guidance, would propel him to be one of the most clinical elite strikers within Europe. As we mentioned, Jurgen at Borussia Dortmund anyway, helping Lewandowski in terms of his career development. And we've seen with Salah, like Mane, Bobby Firmino. And I think he would be the player that if... I'd love to see it. Reds, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But Reds, thank you very much, every single one of you, for tuning in. Connor from the Kop Council, his link is in the description, so do head over there, Reds. And Dave, yeah, you know Connor and Dave anyway, if you're new around the channel anyway. But Dave done a cracking video with Ross from the Red Men last night, wasn't it, Dave? Just give us an insight into that.
Yeah. Myself and Keith did a chat with Ross from Red Men TV yesterday. Basically chatting about everything, mainly about the likes of Trent signed his new deal, and Henderson, will he sign his new deal, which I think he will, and stuff like that, ins and outs. It's a bit of fun, bit of crack. That's all.
Yeah, but Reds, thank you very much. Didn't expect it to go this long, but I made up. I'll give you that tenner, boys, a bit later. Pay you for your time anyway. But thank you very much for coming on, lads, and every single one of you. Helen, Eamon, Scotty, Steve, Liz, Doug, Connor, Dave, make sure I'm not missing Mitchell as well.
Andrew Quinn.
Andrew as well, Jasmine, and Zuki as well, absolute legends. Really do appreciate every single one of you. If you're watching this live or if you're watching this on the repeat, your support does mean the absolute world to not just me, Dave, and Connor, and every single one of you. But Reds, have a lovely weekend. Saturday, sit down, relax, or if you didn't work, hope you have a lovely shift anyway, and fingers crossed you have a lovely night anyway. Enjoy it. And if any news relation breaks anyway, stay tuned on all of our channels. We will have videos coming out this coming week. But Reds, you'll never walk alone. Cheers, lads, and everyone at home, have a boss weekend.
Cheers.
Bye.
I need to do an end segment here, don't I? I need to edit a video or something. See you later, Reds.
You're still live.
I know. Bye, everyone.
Oh, no.